it's Easter Tuesday, and if you know anything about the island of Tobago, then you know that the island is host to many activities for the Easter period. Today we're in
Buku.
For the Buku
Goat and crab racing.
And this is the champ of champs from last year, so we could expect great things from him again this year. But before we show you all the highlights from today's Goat and Crab Race Festival, we're going to take you to Mount Pleasant for the annual Sports and Family Day. Then we're going to take you to the popular car show at Shaw Park Complex and the Dwight York Stadium. And then we take you to the Scarborough Fisherman Fete. This episode is all about vibes, 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 and more vibes here in Buku. This is the 95th annual Goat and Crab Race Festival. Stay tuned. I'm Davia Chambers.
When the quarantine thing done and everybody touch road.
Girl, I wanna rock you. Lift up your head and hold it up high.
It's your girl, Davia Chambers, and I am here to tell you that you need to keep it locked to Let's Talk Tobago for all things Tobago Jazz Experience 2023. We're coming to you from Thursday to Sunday. Thursday at Shaw Park Complex. Friday, we meet right here at the Seafood Festival in the beautiful village of Buku. Saturday, we head to the east for Speyside Jazz, and Sunday we must bring to you International Night featuring Boys to Men. Let's Talk Tobago got you. Ensure that you follow us on TikTok, Facebook and Instagram. Office of the Chief Secretary, THA. Keep it locked. So remember we told you that Tobago is home to many activities for Easter. Well, this activity we're going to take you to was the first of its kind taking place in the capital of Tobago, Scarborough, the Scarborough Fisherman Fete. We now turn it over to Ryan McCool for more.
Check it out. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out.
We're here at the Old Milford Road in Scarborough for the start of the Grand Easter Weekend in Tobago, and it's full of a lot of events. We're here next to the I Love Tobago sign, and in the back of me we have the first ever Scarborough Fisherman Festival on the way. We have a fishing tournament, boat racing, video gaming, and much more.
I can't be what I wanna be. I think I'm gonna make a little world of my own. I don't care what the man says, cause it feels like the key to my home. It's like a million miles away. It's like a million miles away.
Me and my employees and them decided to do something for Scarborough, because we saw a lot of failed events. We saw the Independence Day. It was really nice. So we kind of look at that and look at that as the architect of going forward, you know. I wanted a festival whereby children, like this small man here, could be right here and be a part of the celebration. So I incorporated the 5K, I incorporated the video game, I incorporated even bouncy castle, I incorporated draft tournament, chess, dominoes, boat racing, and last but not least, the jet ski race.
And the rights got stolen, promises got broken. That's how I know. That's how I know. Living in the land of glory.
This is for it to grow, and not only grow locally but internationally. The 5K is earmarked to really create sport tourism, bring runners from near and far, all over the globe, all over the Caribbean, all over the region, to come here and take part in the sport. I incorporated it all to get everybody to come to the venue to see what Scarborough has to offer.
It's like a million miles away. It's like a million miles away. I wanna go to where the top-notch people go. I wanna move on top from down below. Men tell the police don't trouble me, and for every black man don't trouble we.
So we're going to move from goat racing right now to take you to cricket at the Sid Gray Complex in Roxborough. Yes, the Chief Secretary's T10 Cricket Blast competition, the finals was held on Easter Sunday. Crystal George tells us more in these highlights.
It's no coincidence that I'm wearing the Fort King George's t-shirts because we are at the Sid Gray Complex for the 3rd annual Chief Sec T10 Blast Cricket Competition. I'm Crystal George, and if you missed it, we have all the highlights for you. Stay tuned.
I love how the people of Tobago and the countryside in Roxborough came out and support the cricket. It's really, really good, and hopefully that as the years go by, that the tournament goes from strength to strength.
The vibes is very good, very energetic vibes, The team, we have to be playing as a team throughout the tournament, So just to come and finish the job tonight.
This year we were fortunate to get West Indies stars Shannon Gabriel and Elvin Lewis to come to play the Chief Secretary Celebrity game.
This tournament, as it is exciting. It's the very short format of the game, but we are happy that it can really bring the community together. When I look around the grounds, it's beyond cricket.
I've been coming all the time, right? So tonight, Gunners all the way!
So one of the major sponsors of the Buku Goat and Crab Race Festival is B-Mobile. But before we get you back to the 95th annual Goat and Crab Race Festival, we have to take a very short break. So now I'm going to say what I won. I'm not sure what I won. I win something.
When the quarantine thing done and everybody touch road.
Girl, I wanna rock you. Lift up your head and hold it up high.
It's your girl, Davia Chambers, and I am here to tell you that you need to keep it locked to Let's Talk Tobago for all things Tobago Jazz Experience 2023. We're coming to you from Thursday to Sunday. Thursday at Shaw Park Complex. Friday, we meet right here at the Seafood Festival in the beautiful village of Buku. Saturday, we head to the east for Speyside Jazz. And Sunday, we must bring to you International Night featuring Boys to Men. Let's Talk Tobago got you. Ensure that you follow us on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. Office of the Chief Secretary, THA. Keep it locked. Whatever you're looking for in terms of food can be found right here at the Buku Goat and Crab Race Festival. Dumpling and crab, dumpling and pork, provision and stewed chicken, oil dung, you name it. Tobago's cuisine could be found right here. But we have to leave here for a short second just to take you to the Mount Pleasant Sports and Family Day hosted on Easter Monday. So I now turn you over to Omadara Mills for more.
We're here taking in the family-friendly energy at the 48th Mount Pleasant Sports and Family Day. It's one of Easter's highlights for us in Tobago. There's entertainment for people of all ages, from athletic races, goat races, to other novelty activities. There's excitement and fun everywhere you look.
No
want patrons to take away from the activities?
We want the patrons to take away the family-oriented sports we have, right? Different activities, different things for the family. We have some new races that the family can take with them. We have races at 6 people, right? We have the big sack race, we have the hopping race, we have the eating race. So that is family oriented.
It's a nice atmosphere for the kids and family and stuff like that, you know. I wouldn't say nothing new, but it's always been a good event, and I just want to say Mount Pleasant to keep up the good work.
But I think it's lovely that we've continued this tradition in Mount Pleasant. As a child, I came to see the goat race, and so I'm just delighted that now we continue the tradition. We enable young people and villagers and entire families to come and have a wonderful day.
What do you enjoy most about the day's activities?
Seeing the goats run. And seeing the amount of people across the world here in Tobago.
About the goat race and these races, I've never been to one. So this is a very exciting cultural experience, and I appreciate the opportunity to experience it.
I'm enjoying it a lot. I think the goat race looks very fun. I would like to try out for some of the races actually.
I like to watch the goat races, and I like to see the picong and the rivalry between the jockeys, you know, and I hang around close to the paddock sometimes just to hear them, and it will go on for the entire year actually. What wasn't done today, they're going to finish it up in Buku tomorrow.
We've enjoyed our visit to this Sports and Family Day here in Mount Pleasant, but we have to leave it here for now until next time. I'm Amadara Mills for Let's Talk Tobago. Davia, back to you.
So we just couldn't resist coming to the beautiful Buku boardwalk. You all see that view? Show them the view, show them the view. Right, enough of that, because we got to head inside to bring you highlights of the 95th annual Buku Goat and Crab Race Festival. Do enjoy.
It is indeed the culmination of hard work, long nights, plenty meetings, and a lot of money to ensure that we put on one of the best events on the island today for you, the people of Tobago.
I want to talk to you about one thing and one thing only, and that is something I like to call the Tobago genius. Because to have races where goats are used instead of horses, where those among us who are not as privileged and wealthy to be a part of the horse racing industry, we were able to craft something called goat racing.
I'm specifically thrilled to be back to celebrate the 95th Buku Goat Race Festival. And it's an honor to stand before you today to recognize the pivotal role that goat racing has played in the very vibrant history of Tobago.
As the 95th annual Buku Goat and Crab Race Festival continues, we're here with the area representative for Buku Mount Pleasant, Assemblyman Sonny Craig. Firstly, tell us how you're feeling this evening.
Tired,
After all the hard work.
Yeah, well, I give credit to the committees, right? In both Mount Pleasant and Boko, I watch the councils work, and they really put out. Most of my exertion comes from just walking up and down and ensuring things are done well. There are some areas where my influence might be an asset, so that's what I've been involved in mostly today. But basically, generally speaking, the event, most of the hard work, up to 3 this morning they were out here. I left them about 11 o'clock last night, so I could give them the credit for putting in the work.
How often do you train in preparation for this festival?
Right, we start since from like September. From September right back until it's time in here, because it takes a lot of time to get the goats ready and prepared in order to get that energy and power from them.
Now tell our viewers, what can we expect of you this year? Champ of champs again? You think you have what it takes? You and your goat?
Well, I was born a champion, and I hope today that I remain a champion. so we hope that everything works right, you know what I mean? But there's so many good goats today and good jockeys, so best to everyone, but even better to myself.
I made it into the champ of champs already with Rocket. I won one already so far, so hopefully I will try to win the champ of champs or even place.
So beside me, I have a first-time visitor to the island of Tobago, Adrian. Adrian is from Germany. Adrian, so it's your first time visiting the Buku Goat and Crab Race Festival. How are you enjoying it so far? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's really nice. The music's nice. And you actually thought that the goats would run wild, but they're really controlled.
So if you are not at the 95th annual Buku Goat and Crab Race Festival on this Easter Tuesday, then you are really missing out. So I have a visitor here beside me. He's going to tell us his name firstly, and tell me how you enjoying the vibes down here.
Oh, very good. It's a nice spot. I always enjoy to come here.
What do you love most about seeing the goats and crab race?
I've seen everything. So now, obviously, only the goat races. But the last years I've seen the crab race and the beer drinking contest. Yeah.
Yes, so we are outside in Boko, and guess what? We are almost ready for the Champ of Champs race. So right after the break, we're looking for the Champ of Champs, sponsored by the Office of the Chief Secretary. We're outside.
The entertainment brought the curtains down here at the 95th annual Goat and Crab Race Festival. It was an amazing day. We really hope you enjoyed this Easter edition. I'm Davia Chambers, and we do hope to see you for our next edition. That's the Jazz Caravan, the Tobago Jazz Experience 2023. Thank you so much for joining us. Remember to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Office of the Chief Secretary, THA.
You're watching Let's Talk Tobago.
To have you guys here, and welcome to Shorelands Nature Park. Welcome to the lovely nature of magic. You just melt in nature. It brings peace and calm to the soul.
have the Bonacor Lagoon, one of the largest nurseries for marine life in the Caribbean.
I tell her to be a rare thing to do, you know.
Definitely, eh?
Much more than music, man.
You're watching Let's Talk Tobago.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning. Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning, Tobago, and welcome this morning to the Tobago Updates Morning Show. It is Monday, a beautiful Monday morning, and we're really happy to be in your company. Viewers, this is the day that the Lord has made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. So happy to be in your company this morning. I am Rhea Richardson. George Julian Skeeter, unfortunately, is not with us, but good morning to those of you joining us from Tobago, those of you from Trinidad, those of you joining us from the Caribbean, and those of you on the live. Good morning, and whether you're connecting with us on Facebook, YouTube, Gael, or M&E TV, we say good morning, and welcome this morning to the Tobago Updates Morning Show. We've got quite a packed but interesting program for you, and we've got a very special guest host who's going to be joining us in just a little bit. Yes, you'd want to wait and see who that is, but she's going to be with us, on with us shortly. But viewers, like we said, lots of great and exciting things happening on the program this morning. And for those of you who made it into today, we say thank God for life. It's beautiful Monday morning. It's school. School resumes today after the 2-week Easter vacation. For those of you who are getting up and getting ready, you should be getting out of the house just about now to avoid the traffic that is usually associated with the reopening of schools. So we're urging you this morning to get up and get going. Usually the first week of school is it can be a bit tedious, it can be a bit tiresome because you would have relaxed for 2 weeks and now you've got to get up and go again at the usual pace. But we're saying get up and get out now. But you can join us on social media to follow us for the next hour, 2 hours or so, for this program and GMT. Well, viewers, just before we get more into things, we're going to head on over into News in 90 Seconds with Candace.
Thank you, Rhea. I am Candace Jackson, and here is your news in 90 seconds for Monday, 17th April 2023. Tobago is expected to know the name and logo of its newest political party later today. Chief Secretary Farley Augustine will lead a meeting at the Shaw Park complex this afternoon where registered individuals would vote on the party's name and symbol. There are 5 options for the party name. However, that is yet to be released to the public. Augustine stated that the building of this new party would be from a bottom-up approach where the membership would decide on every aspect. The new party results from a fallout between Augustine and PDP political leader Watson Duke. Augustine and the entire executive council resigned from the party and declared themselves as independents before starting this new party. Meanwhile, political leader of Unity of the People, Ngozi Phillips, likened the crime situation in Trinidad and Tobago to World War III. According to Phillips, both the government and the opposition failed to address crime, while citizens remain silent. The UTP political leader also criticized the Minister of National Security, Fitzgerald Hines, for putting his ego before ensuring there are results in the fight against crime. And nationally, heads of CARICOM arrived in Trinidad yesterday for the CARICOM Crime Symposium in an attempt to formulate a regional plan in the fight against crime. This symposium comes after Trinidad and Tobago was listed as number 6 in the world crime statistics, followed by Guyana at number 7 and Jamaica at number 10. Among the leaders in attendance is Prime Minister of Barbados, Mia Mottley, the Prime Minister of Dominica, Roosevelt Skerrit, and the Prime Minister of Jamaica, Andre Holness. And that was your news in 90 seconds. It is back to you, Ria.
Thank you so much, Candace, for the news in 90 seconds, and lots of interesting things happening within Trinidad and Tobago and the region. Well, viewers, I'm going to introduce our guest host for the week this morning, and she's none other than Dana Combi. Good morning.
Good morning, Ria. Of course, it's always a pleasure to be in the Tobago Updates. I feel like family here.
Your passport is stamped. Your passport is stamped.
Quite clearly. You know, while I was there, I was hearing you talking about back to school. And for parents with school-age children. Woo! I just want to say thanks for my community. You know, they say it takes a village to raise a child. I am thankful for my village today because look at the time I'm here.
That's right.
And my child has to get to school. So the village taking care of the child this morning.
I tell you, so it's packing, ensuring that school clothes, school uniforms are ready.
Yes.
Lunch kits are packed, and they're off at a very early. Time. At the end of the day, it's all about them getting to school on time, all right? And there are a lot of parents who believe that it's not necessary. When they reach, they reach. But we have to remember the lessons that we are teaching, what we are instilling in them along the way, because at the end of school age, they've got university, they've got the workforce to deal with.
That's right. So we really need to instill those things in them from now. So yes, get to school on time. Yes, make sure your uniform iron clean, your shoes polish and all these things, you know?
Yep.
So our children, they're in good hands.
They're in good hands, yes, definitely. But we're going to get on into some birthdays today, and then we're going to share with our viewers this morning what's coming up on the program. So we're heading over into our birthday lineup, and according to our birthday lineup, and this is the lovely Laura Kwashi Chatband, who celebrated her birthday on Friday, but these are just some of her makeover pics. So over the weekend, she had a whole fashion do-over, as you can see. Let's go back to pic 1. This was Friday when she had the hair done and everything. Yeah, that's right. She had the hair done. See that? Yep. And then over the weekend, she had, you know, she glammed up. She glammed up yesterday for her photo shoot. So Laura, happy birthday going out to you. And she turned 60, proud of her 60. So love going out to you from your entire family this morning and all of us here at Tobago Updates. Yeah. And then we've got Kaden Roberts, who celebrated her birthday yesterday. So Kaden, lots of love going out to you from your mommy Shala, from your brother Junior, from your entire church family, Auntie Asha and the family, all of us at Wesleyan and all of us here at Tobago Updates. And the guy with the pink beard. Wait, wow. We had a birthday. We did.
Oh. And of course, we are celebrating the birthday of our very own Dr. Faith B. Israel. Happy birthday.
I thought this was a song was coming on there, Adana. I thought this was a song was coming on there.
It's too early in the morning for that, Ria.
Happy birthday to Dr. Faith. And we've got belated but birthday greetings going out to Ricardo Rogers. Wow, Ricardo Rogers, that's right. Happy belated birthday going out to you. And lots of love from all of us here at Tobago Updates. It's so good to see you. Wow.
Oh,
we know this gentleman.
Yes, Uncle Richard, we call him.
That's right, Richard Alfred.
Right. Happy birthday, sir. Happy birthday to you. Wow, look at you.
I'm wondering if it's 50 or 60, but I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to leave it there.
Right.
Happy birthday going out to you. And belated birthday greetings going out to Anomaly. So
Wow.
I'm not sure if he's celebrating today or he celebrated yesterday as well.
Yeah.
Wow, interesting. Happy belated birthday going out to you, Anomaly, and love from all of us here at Tobago Updates. Adana, this is where you should be singing.
Ooh, happy birthday. That's the best I could do at 7:04 a.m. That's the best you're going to get from me. I'm very sorry. My singing time was in the shower.
I'm gonna leave it right there. I'm gonna leave it there. But still, we want to let our viewers know what's coming up, and I love that shot in the background there of the crab and goat races.
Yes.
Were you there over the weekend?
I wasn't, you know. I didn't go to a single event. Can you imagine that?
Wow.
I did not. But I heard it was, lovely. I mean, I know there are things that happen, but all in all, it's an iconic Tobago event.
That's right.
So I heard everybody had a good time there.
At the end of the day, this is a Tobago event.
It's a Tobago thing.
This is not like Carnival Trinidad and Tobago.
Right.
This is
indigenous to Tobago. And as our chief secretary said, it's a Tobago genius. You know, they use horses to race. We're using goat and crab.
That's right.
You understand? That's the genius that resides in Tobago.
And that's why it's so unique.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. All right, so we say good morning as well to those of you connecting with us on the live, to Selma Lashley, Julia Brown, Pearl Murray Bear. We say good morning, Andre Edwards, Auntie Dora Lyons. Good morning to all of you, those of you connecting with us on social media, YouTube and Facebook. We say good morning to you, Emily TV, Gael. Good morning to you. So let's get on into our rundown this morning. Because it is the first day of school, and this is the third term of the school year.
Yes.
All right, and this is the term, in my opinion, that matters the most.
Yes, promotion term. Yes.
That's right. So parents, ensure that their assignments are done. And I'm not saying that the first and second terms are not important, but this is the term that
determining
matters.
factor. Yes,
that's right.
That's right.
All right, so starting us off this morning, we're going to be chatting with Braden Roberts, the Tobago officer tutor, and he's going to be chatting with us this morning on the new school term. Are we ready? Are we ready indeed? All right, so we're going to be chatting with Braden Roberts this morning, and then we're going to be chatting with
Mr. Alan Stewart. He is the director of TEMA, Tobago Emergency Management Agency. We're going to be talking to him about a few things that they're doing there and their celebrations and stuff like that.
That's right. And then we're going to shift focus this morning in chatting with Wade David, a committee member and a teacher attached to Wim Anglican School. And it's all about the Wim Anglican Art and Jazz Experience. You talk about grabbing hold of what's happening in Tobago. And as we talk about that, you know, we've got jazz coming up this weekend. We've got the Tobago Jazz Experience 2023 coming up this weekend. And tickets are already booked. They've already booked their tickets, bags packed, and they're on their way to Tobago for the Tobago Jazz Experience.
That's right.
Yeah. And who do we wrap up with this morning?
And of course, speaking about Tobago Jazz Experience, our last guest as we wrap up the show is none other than one of the artists who will be performing at the Tobago Jazz Experience on the Gospel Night.
That's right.
I wonder if any of our viewers could guess.
There's so many.
3 seconds to guess. Well, we will be chatting with the one and only Samuel Midas. Yes. He will be rounding up our show. We will be rounding up our interviews with him this morning on the Tobago Update show. So stay tuned, because we have plenty of things coming for you guys.
That's right, and I'm wondering if we can get a song or two out of Samuel Midas. Pretty excited about that.
Yes.
All right, so that's our lineup for this morning, and we want to thank all of you for joining us this morning. Social media, YouTube, Facebook, Gael, Emily TV, thank you so much for connecting with us. And viewers, this is your opportunity to share the live as we go over to Tobago in Focus.
The Division of Education, Research and Technology's Student Support Services provides a range of services all geared at the holistic development of all children, including those who require special education services. School psychologist Marian Kent dispelled the notion that special education is a place. Rather, it is about encouraging children to embrace themselves.
Special education is a range of services that's afforded to individuals or students who struggle struggle academically, behaviorally, emotionally, socially, in fitting in and being able to perform with the reading, the math, even achieving goals.
Assistant Education Coordinator Susan Grant explained that a child with special needs or one requiring special education services are not limited to academic shortcomings. It also includes children who are creative or exceptional.
Special needs is not only what we see or the obvious. We have to talk about those who are the exception, who are brilliant and are moving ahead of our mainstream curriculum, and those who, because of circumstances, may end up needing specialized services.
Providing the best services for our children is the department's top priority and often requires collaboration with other divisions and agencies. However, the most important partnership is with the family. Ms. Kent appealed to parents and guardians to support the work of the department by becoming advocates for their children. The Division of Education, Research and Development's Student Support Services provides various services to students from early childhood to secondary school.
Viewers, welcome back this morning to the Tobago Updates Morning Show. And at this time, we are chatting this morning with Mr. Braden Roberts, the Tutor Tobago Officer. And this morning, our focus is on the new school term. And are we ready? Good morning and welcome to this morning, Braden Roberts. We don't have him just yet. But like we said, viewers, it is the start of the new school term, and we're encouraging parents to get up and get them out as well. We want to remind you that school uniforms, the correct and appropriate school uniforms are important. No adjustment. If the school shoes, the school requires black shoes, it is black, not black with a hint of white, not white with a hint of black. And we want to remind you this morning that we are training a generation to come. We've got Braden Roberts on the program with us this morning. Good morning and welcome to Braden Roberts. Tutor Tobago Officer Braden Roberts.
Are you all hearing me? Good morning.
Yes, we're hearing you. We're hearing you now, loud and clear. Good morning and welcome to the Tobago Updates Morning Show.
Yes, good morning and thank you for hosting me.
All right. Now, Mr. Roberts, we're talking the new school term. Today's the first day. This is the final term within the school year. Give our viewers this morning an idea of how important this term is in the year of, or the school year of the individual child.
All right. Well, in order for me to give that perspective, I would like persons to start looking at what is the purpose of schooling really, and is preparing students for the next stage. And the final term of this school year is to really have students ready for the next level. So whether it's to go up to secondary school, or to go to Form 4, or to go to Standard 3, whichever is that next stage for that particular child, this is the crucial term for such. If we look back at the last two terms, there would have been several distractions, things happening. We understood how coming out of the pandemic and the virtual learning, all those little disruptions, schools like Scarborough Sector would have had periods where students are out of school. So we had some disruptions in the last two terms. I'm not fully aware as to the status of St. Andrew's School, but they may still have some challenges for this new term. But all in all parents, all teachers, the division, tutor, we need to be able to be more efficient to ensure that this term is more impactful for our students. Because as I said, in living up to the purpose of schooling, the third term is really that final push before the students go to the next level.
All right. And how ready is ready? How ready are we? And you know, we talk about us being after COVID-19, after the COVID-19 pandemic. How ready are we? Are we back to that state of normalcy? Are we there yet?
Well, I would try to be optimistic. I'll have to try really hard to be. While I see efforts of the division to bridge the gap, and even working with the division, tutor working with the division, we are making some strides. I'm not seeing that it is significant enough to say we are at a good place. But as I said, it's continued work. We have scheduled meetings with the division. I've seen some stuff that the division is doing, but unless you make meaningful impact at in a particular time frame, you won't be able to move from a period of inefficiencies to a period where all is well and we could have that level of comfort. So to see how ready we are, we will only be able to see it such in the first 2 to 3 weeks of this term. The things that are being implemented, because we have a lot of meetings where a lot of things are spoken, and we know how politics work as well. So we'll have politicians who will give the impression that a lot was done, and a lot may be done, but it's not being felt. So how these things are implemented within the first 2 or 3 weeks, we will have a proper gauge as to if we're in a good place or if we're in a better place than we were last term. So I don't want to be, that is me trying to be optimistic about it, but judging from past experience, I know that my work, tutor work, teachers work cut out again for this term.
All right. And your message, because I know time is short with us this morning, but your message to teachers, parents, and students this morning at the start of the term.
All right. Well, getting things going again is always difficult for teachers. We know as we start a new term and you get into the schoolwork, you're wondering, like, these children play out all the things that we taught them in the previous term. So, that getting back serious into the schoolwork and so on is for the teachers and the parents to work together. It's time that, parents seek to find out what is happening with the teachers, what happened with the students in the class, what kind of support you need. I also encourage teachers, share your plans with your parents. So what is the plan for this week or for the next 2 weeks? If we work together, we will get the best package for our students. So I always believe in collaboration. I appreciate the collaboration that we are tutors getting with the division, but all in all, we also need to have these students involved in the discussions. As we all know, back then you could have told students to do things and they do it. Now students need explanations and to believe what you're telling them before they do it. So the collaboration, we had to keep pushing for it. And if teachers get frustrated, or parents get frustrated, or even tutors, if any aspect of the cohort gets frustrated, things would break down. So I don't want persons to get into the angle of being frustrated. We have to be patient and we have to respect and work with each other. So that's my message to all persons, all stakeholders in education. We had to be able to put aside various things and work together.
All right. Thank you so much there, Breed and Roberts, for chatting with us this morning. And all the best to you. I know uneasy is the head that wears the crown, but we wish you all the best for the new school term as you continue to work hard for teachers in Tobago and in Trinidad. Viewers, lots more coming up on the program this morning. We are going to be chatting next. In fact, Dana is going to be chatting next with Mr. Alan Stewart, and it's all about TIMA's 25th anniversary and more. So share the live, share the live, share the live.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up and look, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up and look. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. 'cause this is your show. More, live more.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning.
Welcome back to the morning show on Tobago Updates, and I am your guest host for this week, Adana Kumbi, and we're going right back into it. But before we go into it, those of you who are making it to work this morning, it's now 7:19 a.m. You have the kids to drop off to school, and you have to get to work for 8 o'clock. So you need to be on the streets by now. Take your time, drive safely, and get there on time. Get your children to school on time. This morning, I'm chatting with Mr. Alan Stewart. He's the director of TEMA, which is the Tobago Emergency Management Agency, with responsibility of disaster preparedness, if I'm correct. Right. And we're here today to talk about the anniversary and the things they do for us here on the island of Tobago. Good morning, Mr. Stewart, and welcome to our program.
Hey, good morning, ma'am. It's good to be here. It's always a pleasure being on the updates. So I'm very pleased to join you guys to extend what we are doing here in Tobago to the rest of the wider public, even locally, nationally, and internationally.
That's right.
I know you have that type of spread.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. At the Tobago Updates. Now, what I want to know is, we know that the team is responsible for the management of disaster preparedness and stuff like that. But just give us a little bit of insight as to what exactly your role is in Tobago.
Our role is one that is very clear. Our mission stands for we have a mission that speaks clearly, that defines our major mandate, which is to coordinate a network of agencies and individuals to direct their efforts towards the maximum preservation of life and the protection of property during times of disaster. So that, in essence, is our mission.
Right, and I know that I think the CERT is under your purview.
Correct. It's a child of TEMA, right. Which is embedded in the community. I think all of this needs to be in context.
Right.
You know, just around the same period that the UN, the United Nations International Disaster Risk Reduction Program begun, CERT saw its birth. Right. Coming out of two major events, one in 2004, or two in 2004. We had the November severe weather, and we had Hurricane Ivan in the same year in 2004, or tropical storm, as we were impacted as a tropical storm. Followed by that, in 2005, the island again was impacted by another hydrometeorological event in 2005, tropical storm Emily. And by that time, we were convinced, coming out of, fresh out of an international conference, we were looking for answers.
Right.
And therefore, CERT was one of those answers. Speaking to those days were the high-growth framework for action. And one of those major pillars was always looking at the community in a particular manner. And that was our answer to that mandate. It must be pointed out that the Tobago Emergency Management Agency, which is a unit within the Office of the Chief Secretary, does not operate. It operates by a number of mandates, and not just locally, but regionally, and also international. So there are those international mandates that are projected by the UN that speaks to a number of issues that we ourselves needs to be very, very, very comfortable with. Right. It guides policy in terms of what we do at the policy level, and also from an operational level. It allows our affiliates, such as our stakeholders, the members of the TDMC, to all function within that realm and understand that disaster risk is something that we have to embrace as a meaningful way of surviving on the planet.
Right, because I'm happy that you mentioned all of this, because disasters aren't indigenous to Tobago only.
That's right.
We experience disasters all over the world.
Correct.
So the fact that we have all these external agencies who are part of a governing body, if I could put it that way, that kind of guides the process, that kind of gives some level of direction as to the standards and the things that we need to implement to protect our own spaces where we reside. Is that what you're saying? Something like that?
Certainly.
Yes.
What you have found over the years is that these over 168 countries across the world have bought into what we now know as a Sendai framework. That is something that was birthed in 2015 in Japan, Sendai in Japan. And therefore, as we move forward, we embrace these mandates. We feel very comfortable backed by, you know, I was heartened just a couple of weeks ago, I met the chief secretary in a building down at Shaw Park, and he said to me, Stuart, I have signed off on the MCR. You know, when we ask, what is the MCR?
Right.
Making Cities Resilience. Just last year, around May, the United Nations, and I want to point out that these international bodies are looking at Tobago. They are looking at what we have been doing.
Wow.
They are adaptations. They are adopting some of our principles, some of the things that we do. We consider it to be best practices as we, you know, because we are guided by these mandates and therefore we embrace them. And, you know, I felt very heartened to hear the chief secretary pointing that out to me because I was very concerned as to sometimes you buy into a mandate, but if there is no executive buy-in, you have challenges because everybody is not walking the same walk or talking the same talk. So the vision of it immediately came through sometime last year around May, where we sought to see a transform Tobago, a Tobago that is resilient, a Tobago that is adaptive, people-centered, a Tobago that is driven by, you know, looking at sustainably developing products and services in a particular way, driven by, you know, the attitude towards leveraging the resources available to us. So you could have, as an outcome, a resilient Tobago. And that is our mandate, you know, to move in a direction where we can see our systems are being strengthened. Resiliency is what it's all about.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. It has to be, because the fact that the UN has approved and started adopting some of the things that you've been implementing, I mean, it gives me confidence in this agency. It gives me a lot of confidence in this agency, and Tobago people can be rest assured that we are doing our best to ensure when disaster strikes, we are prepared, we are ready, and that maximum lives and property will be preserved.
Yeah. Let me just point out, you know, because I know the clock is running, and I'll be belt if I didn't mention, you know, our 25th anniversary.
I was just coming to that, to tell me about the 25th anniversary and the things you all have planned.
You know, there's a songwriter, a Calypsonian, I wouldn't risk trying to say who it was, but I remember the Calypso that sang 25 years have passed, how you feel it? You know? And therefore, I am a very proud person, and that concern and that feeling is emanating by our 25th anniversary, where we look to celebrate our gains. We need to recognize the hurdles and the path that we took. You know, 25 years ago, I remember the Executive Council. You know, the Trinidad and Tobago have learned, and the Caribbean have learned a lot from the impacts of hazards across the region. I remember just around that time, in the 9th of March, 1998, by Executive Minute number 64, give birth to the what we knew as NEMA in Tobago, the NEMA Tobago. Before that, what I saw was happening is that I was part of a committee, is known today as the Tobago Disaster Management Committee. It was a committee where I remember my grandmother used to say, beg water, don't boil cattle skin. And we had just came out of what you call a 1997 event. I'm not sure if you remember that event.
I don't know, but let me bring it on.
Yeah, in 1997, we had two major events that shifted the landscape of Tobago.
That earthquake,
yes. And we are in that month as well.
Yes.
So in 1997, and we saw two earthquakes happening, one last week and one maybe within the last 24 hours, just around close to Antigua. But around the 2nd of April, an earthquake, I think it was a 5.1 earthquake, impacted the island, and then followed by a 5.9 on the 22nd of April, 1997. I'm saying this to make the point that when you pay attention carefully to whatever development we have made during those years, we recognize that hazards, the impact of hazards have influenced Tobago's posture and what we consider to be the ethos of Tobago. You know, you go around the country, you will hear on one side of the country somebody saying, God is a Trini. And then you will hear Tobago praying people. We never adopted God as being a Tobagonian, but we look at it as Tobagonians are praying people. We understand exactly, because we have been burnt many times. So we came out of the experience in 1963, where 18 persons lost their lives as a result. Over 75% of our agricultural products and services and estates were destroyed by Hurricane Flora in 1963. And I was making the point as to what happened in 2004 and then followed by the next year in 2005. So we have had a rich history of these, whether it's seismic or hydrometeorological event. And also we have had some, some people, there's a school of thought today, it can be that, disasters are all man-made, I don't want to go down that road, but certainly they feel that even with the onset of climate change, and you listen to the discussion that is taking place that took place in Paris and in Glasgow, you tend to want to take a look at what these guys are saying. Are we responsible for the onset of climate change, and therefore adaptiveness has become a necessity and imperative going forward?
Well, I am not a scholar in that area. I am not an authority, so I have no idea. But I would like to know more about this. I would like to follow that conversation and to see where it goes.
Yeah.
But as we continue, tell me some of the things that you have planned in the celebration of your 25th anniversary.
So today, later on at around 9 o'clock, we kickstart with, a full program that speaks to a journey in terms of looking at behind the scenes, the past, the present, and also looking at the future as well as to where we go from here. To me, there will be a number of speakers, inclusive of the Chief Secretary himself, who will grace us with his presence. And, I could imagine his remarks. Should be a very proud man, especially coming out of an event that we had last year in October. And certainly we want to, those events, this event will have, is just the tip of the iceberg, where we will hit the street sometimes later down in the month, coming to the month end, where we'll have an event in Scarborough, probably somewhere around this area. People buzz a lot.
Right.
And also in the Crown Point area. The following next month, we are in the major areas, such as we go to the east and reach some of the people. The objective is to allow people to become acquainted. When I would have spoke to you about the mission, our mission is one that transform. You're looking for a transformed Tobago, a Tobago that is resilient, adaptive, people-centered, people-inclusive. And therefore, as we try to leverage the resources that are currently available to us, we will see that behind the curtains, these hit the street caravans will take place, and that caravan will take us to certain areas. We also feel very strongly that not enough persons understand we are 25 years of age, but when you look at divisions and other entities, 25 years is a short period for knowing. You have transcend taking place within divisions, and therefore we want to target even divisions within the Tobago House of Assembly to bring them on board or understand us. So we'll have visits coming to TIMA to see what TIMA does, or we are a unit within the Office of the Chief Secretary. You want to see our OCS partners come to TIMA and understand the doings of TIMA. Why TIMA asks us so much? Why TIMA want this and want that? If they understand where we are, then they can better understand us as a client.
Right, so it's a full public education drive.
Right.
Good. So that the Tobago public will be aware of the things that you do and the reason why you make demands for the resources that you require.
Wonderful sense.
Mr. Stewart, I want to thank you so much for joining us on the program this morning, for enlightening us, and we celebrate with you, and we thank you so much for all the hard work you've been doing.
And I want to thank the team as well. They have been doing, and those soldiers who have passed through our corridors, they have done a lot in terms of their delivery. And put us, so we stand on the backs of many giants who have passed through the agency before. The Alan Richards and these people, they set the pace,
Right.
Good. Thank you very much.
So we thank you so much for being here. And we wish you all the very best. Congratulations on your achievements, and we look forward to more in the future. This is where we're going to take a break, but before we go to a break, we say share the live, share the live, share the live, and we'll be back with more.
Tapicom. Welcome to the future. The only card you will need in a new world. Digital business cards. Safe, hassle-free. The future is here. Tapicom. New generation digital transfer. Digital time clock cards. Digital attendance cards. Air tags. Customized designs. Digital clothing tags. Digital pet tags. Tapicom. The future is here. Contact us today.
Tobago, it's time to go. Sweet like
Tobago, here's the real deal. Nothing sweeter than when your internet fast all day, every day. I telling you, it's real nice when your home internet and TV package fit your budget. Well, if that's what you want, you're safe with Digicel Plus. Sign up or switch to Digicel Plus now and pay $0 for 1 month. Plus, plans start as low as $199 and you get installed for free. Visit digiceltt.com or a Digicel store now.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash in transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning.
Back this morning to the Tobago Updates morning show. Welcome back, welcome back. Remember, viewers, it is the first day of school for the last school term. Yes, school is reopened today. So if you're still at home at 7:36, guys, you're running really late. You've got to get there. You've got to get there, drop them off, and get to work on time. So you should be out the door around now. All right? But we're chatting this morning with Mr. Wade David, a committee member and a teacher attached to Wim Anakin School. This morning, viewers, our focus is on the Wim Anakin's art and jazz experience. Good morning and welcome to you. I say Sir David here.
Yes.
Sir David.
Yes, Sir David is okay. Good morning, Ria. Good morning to all viewers. Good morning, Tobago.
All right. Now, I'm really happy to have you back with us. It's been a while. I don't think you and I have chatted here on Tobago Updates. We've chatted maybe before elsewhere.
I believe so, elsewhere. And I was here last year with the Wim Anglican Primary Girls football team as well.
Okay, all right. Yeah. All right. Now we're talking about art and jazz. Now, I mean, I love the way the Wim Anakin School is capitalizing on what's happening on the island this weekend. So tell us how you all came up with this collaboration.
Right. So this is the brainchild of the Parent Teachers Association at the Wim Anglican Primary School. And the idea is that during Jazz Festival, the mothers and fathers, aunts and uncles, they all have the chance to experience and enjoy culture in some way. And the children are usually left at home with the caretaker, whoever is there. And this is the opportunity for the children now to showcase their talent and to also enjoy some aspects of culture in the same way that the adults can. So WAJE, the Wim Anglican Arts and Jazz Experience.
Give us that one more time.
It's called WAJE, and we want that to be a household name in Tobago. WAJE, just like we had Ramajé and Dingole and Palance.
I love it.
Yes, WAJE, Wim Anglican Arts and Jazz Experience.
And this is a jazz event just for kids.
Just for kids.
Now, what are we talking about here in terms of performances? Are we talking the children performing, young people, the matured, jazz?
Well, we have both. Primarily, we want this to be a platform for new, young, and emerging talent in the primary schools. So we opened up the performances to primary schools throughout Tobago, and we have performances coming in from St. Andrew's Anglican, from Scarborough RC, Mason Hall, Blackrock, Wem Anglican, and other primary schools, and they are doing various performances, dance, spoken word, speech band. But with regard to the seasoned performers, we also have a plethora of instruments. We have Carol Warner, a violinist. We have Michelle Henry, a saxophonist, Kashif Wilson, Kalem Jamu on drums, Gerard Balfour on pans, and also Tam Tam and Adana will also be gracing the stage. So we have a really packed cast that we believe the children would be able to truly enjoy and also learn something as well. Because this is cultural edutainment. It's education and entertainment. Yeah, so we try to deliver the curriculum by creating an experience for the children. Coming out of this, they are able to write reports, write stories. They're able to tell of experiences that they would have had. So these are some of the objectives behind WAJE.
All right, and what sort of insight, what sort of attraction has it been gaining? I mean, thus far, what have persons been saying? I love the title, I love the WAJE. Whoever coined the term, the name, I have to say it will definitely catch on. WAJE. Yeah. I can almost see some persons wanting to name their babies WAJE. You know how we are in the Caribbean. It sounds good, so we give the baby the name. What's your name? WAJE. What does it mean? I don't know. My mommy went to Wem Anglican school, and she just decided to. But tell us about the attraction that this event has been gaining.
Right. In terms of corporate sponsorship, we've been reaching out to corporate sponsors, and they've been very, very receptive. We've been reaching out to the THA. We've had, very positive reception from the divisions of education, as well as division of tourism and culture. So we really want to thank them for being receptive to the idea and supportive as well. We've reached out to the primary schools. They have also been very receptive. They see this as an opportunity to help to create a space in Tobago for culture to start developing
at an early age.
Exactly, because we don't want to wait until our artists are 20, 25 years old and they're struggling. They don't have any sort of foundation. Right. So coming out of this, we want to focus on development as well. So WAJE will be an annual event. We don't want to be WAJE to be a one-off thing that somebody remembered back in 2023. We want WAJE to be an annual thing. Once there is jazz, there must be WAJE for the kids.
That's right. You can't coin a name like WAJE and just have a one-off.
Exactly.
All right. So we see the continuation taking place here. But let me ask you, in terms of what you are expecting, this is the first year, yes. But when we look at how this event can grow, I'm sure already because of time you would have. This is what you see here, but you already see the potential for it. Where do you see WAJE growing to in the future?
We see WAJE growing to become an international and regional platform to showcase local talent right here in Tobago. So once a performer goes on a WAJE stage in the future, we expect that there will be some international acclaim, some sort of prestige. So we want to develop this WAJE platform primarily for the young artists, the primary school age artists and performers. And we also see WAJE as not just a platform, but a means of development, developing the cluster of culture in Tobago. Because coming out of this, we want to connect the young artists to mentors as well. And also, it's not just about the performances. We also have an art competition attached to WAJE, where persons are able to submit paintings, drawings, sculptures, different forms of art on a simple question: what does jazz mean to you? Right? And so WAJE eventually in the future will be a major art and cultural experience in Tobago.
Okay. When is Waje taking place and where?
Waje takes place on Wednesday, the 19th of April, from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. at the Boko Integrated Facility. Right, so you don't want to miss this. Parents, children, those, even if you are in a high school and you're into culture, you're into arts, we invite and encourage you to attend as well.
Yeah. Would there be school on that day for the Wemanicon?
Right. We will have school suspended at 12:30 in order for that. And, we're encouraging primary schools, through the permission of the division, we're encouraging them to send your children out to attend Waje. And this is something that, we've communicated with the division with as well, to allow children to have this part of the curriculum delivered to them via experience. So not all the curriculum would and should be delivered within the boundaries of the classroom. We believe that experiential learning in this form is also beneficial.
All right, and in terms of the art, we're talking art and jazz. The artwork, these are the children doing the artwork.
The children.
From what level, what age group?
This is from, it could be even from preschool. We are not discriminating. So this is open to the preschools as well, all primary school age. So once you're in a primary school or a preschool, you can attend. I forgot to mention that for the preschoolers, children under 5, admission is free.
Right.
It's totally free. So if you're at a preschool and you want to bring your child or children, it's free.
But adults pay?
Adults pay, yeah.
If you're over preschool age, that's right, you've got to pay. So again, it's happening at the Buku Integrated Facility starting 1 p.m. on Wednesday.
Yes.
All right, and this is a call for not just school-age children and parents, but for Tobago to come out and see.
Yeah, we really would like the support, because when you attend as a Tobagoan, you are showing the children that you are interested in them and what they are doing, and you encourage them to put, to be the best that they can be on the stage.
All right, and it's Waje.
Waje.
Wemanicon Art and Jazz Experience. We will not forget Waje. Save the date, viewers. It's happening on April 19th. That's Wednesday, coming 1 p.m. at the Buku Integrated Facility. So when you see your friends this morning, you just say, Waje. That's right. And you remind them it's all happening on Wednesday. All right. Thank you so much for being on the program, and all the best to you and the Parent Teachers Association at the Wemanicon School.
Thank you very much, Ria. Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure indeed. Waje, viewers, Waje. Lots more coming up this morning on the Tobago Updates Morning Show. Viewers, we are talking gospel jazz when we come back, and our guest is going to be Samuel Madas. We're going to be doing it online. We wish he were here, but don't worry, we're going to get a taste or two, because my daddy is the king, so I am. All right, we're going to be chatting when we come back. So viewers, share the live, share the live, share the live.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO, and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
October will never be better with Tobago Carnival Fever. Okay, passage and come on over.
Welcome to Limache Parfait Day Spa, your urban oasis and wellness center. Our services includes massages, treatments, facials, pedicures, weight management, detox programs, and much more. Call us today at 624-1452 or 720-7474. Trinidad locations and Bonacore, Tobago at 273-7772. Let us treat you like the VIP you are.
Everybody only worrying.
Never ever worry, don't mind how things looking hard. I tell them never ever worry, if your nice car get damaged bad. I tell them never ever worry, what I'm saying is true. So just consider, Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry, don't mind if life make you sad. I tell them never ever worry, if your house get flooded out real bad. I tell them never ever worry, what I'm saying is true. So just consider, Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry, if sickness catch you off guard. I tell them never ever worry, if times fall on you real hard. I tell them never ever worry, what I'm saying is true. So just consider, Tatil will always be here for you.
Never worry about a thing. Tatil, where people are people. You know what I mean.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up below. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Viewers, welcome back this morning to the Tobago Updates Morning Show. And we are talking this morning about the Tobago Jazz Experience, but the Gospel Night in particular. And chatting with Adana and I this morning, we've got Samuel Midas, gospel recording artist out of Guyana. Good morning and welcome to you, Samuel Midas.
Hello, good morning, everybody. How are you doing?
Good morning, good morning. Well. It's good to have you
if
with
you guys
us.
could hear me.
We're hearing you. Are you
Yo,
hearing
wake
us?
me up. I look like a
We
wake
woke
up,
you
right?
up. But it's not too bad. It's not too bad. Don't worry. It's not too bad. You still look good. Yes.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure indeed. We want to start things off. Now, we know that Royalty is one of your #1 songs. But for those persons out there who are not quite sure what we're talking about, just give them a quick sample. I know the voice is not yet up and ready, but I'm sure you can handle it. And when we talk Royalty, which song we're talking about in particular?
And we will back you up. We're backing you up. We're backing you up.
Yeah, you've got backup singers here, so you go ahead. Just give us a taste of
My daddy is a king, so I am royalty. You better.
Yes.
that was that was just for Donna.
What? I've been longing to do that ever since I knew you were coming on the program. I'm like, I'm singing this morning with Samuel.
That's right.
Thank you
But you
so
know,
much.
I wasn't planning to sing it, but I wasn't planning to sing it. But since you were expecting it, you gonna be at the show, right?
But of course, front and center.
Good. Well, we gonna sing it.
Right.
Good.
And you gotta sing it especially for her.
Thank you.
All right. Now let me ask you. You have done several songs, but we want to have an idea of who is Samuel Midas. Before you made it international. Give us a little bit about tell us a little bit about your background. Where did you come from? I mean, we know you're from Guyana, but tell us who was the boy Samuel Midas.
Okay, so who Samuel Midas is now is who he always was. Samuel Midas is that little black country boy that nobody would have any time with, nobody would ever take a second look at if it wasn't for Jesus and these kind of talents that he placed inside of me. I was born on the west coast of Demerara. My parents are pastors. When I was born, they weren't pastors. When I was 4 or something like that, they became pastors. But I was born in church. I was raised in church. My mother was a teacher at the time, and she would not let me speak broken English around her, especially when I wanted to tell her stories. Um, and I guess her inculcating that into me gave me a love for literature, a love for reading, a love for writing, and I didn't know that in the later years that this would come in handy. Um, I really didn't think that I would be a singer. I really wanted to be a cricketer or something. I had different things I wanted to be at different times in my life.
Could have been a good cricketer.
I would have sucked at it, but that was the going thing then when you was a child. Um, but it wasn't until I was 14 where everybody knew I could sing. I didn't know. They say the thing that you do well, that you think everybody else can do, they can't, and it's a gift. That was me. I didn't know that there was anything special because I did it just effortlessly. It wasn't until I was 14 and a CVR motorcycle hit me and picked me up and slammed me into a concrete fence, a 6-foot concrete fence, and I was supposed to be dead or crippled or something like that. And for some reason, I walked out of the accident with no bones broken. And I heard God speak to me that night and said, "I'm protecting you because I have purpose for your life." And I was going through like a identity crisis then. But I told the Lord, "Listen, whatever you want to do with me, and I'm going to let you do it." And everything that has unfolded then, the albums, the travels. And I come from Guyana, and Guyana is not a place that is known for leaving musical footprints anywhere. Guyana has gold and diamond and bauxite and the tallest waterfalls, but singers no. So to be one of the premier gospel artists in the Caribbean and coming from a place like Guyana, it's such a blessing and a testimony of what God could do with anybody who tells him, "Yes, you could take my life."
But isn't it remarkable how God sometimes uses these situations to bring you into your purpose?
I know.
Isn't it amazing?
I know. And I was really bad. I was really, really bad at the time when I got into that accident because I really wanted, if the peer pressure was so much, I wanted to be like the bad boys at school. So I had one life at school. I was cussing and behaving bad and then come home as a pastor's child. Read your Bible, go to church on Sunday morning. And I guess God brought me to a crossroads for me to make a decision what exactly I wanted to do. And I'm so happy that he brought me to that crossroad, as painful as it was.
We're happy that you made that decision, that's the direction you chose to go. Because look at what you're doing. You're impacting lives, you're penetrating the gospel music industry, and you're bringing beautiful lyrical intelligence to the music and the word of God to people.
I've never heard that before. Beautiful musical intelligence.
I like it as well. Yes, she did good. He's going to write it down. Remember to tag me in that, credit me with that when you use that.
I got you.
Yes. All right. So you're going to be one of those artists or ministers, I like to say, performing or ministering at the Tobago Jazz Experience 2023. And this is the first time that there is the gospel element to the Tobago Jazz Experience. So you guys are really creating history here for us. What can persons expect from Samuel Meadows? Now, you did indicate earlier on that you were not planning to do royalty, but now it's got to be on the list. Okay, it's got to be on the list. But what else can persons expect from you for 2023 at this Gospel Tobago Jazz Experience?
First of all, I come in with a full band. And these guys are amazing. Expect a lot of nostalgia for the day one fans. Because people like y'all only know Samuel Meadows when Samuel Meadows dropped royalty. But there was so much music from before. And people told me, "Man, why don't you sing music from before?"
What are some of your songs? What are some of the other songs that a lot of persons tend to miss?
I'm not telling you. I'm not telling you. It is not my modus operandi to tell people what to come in and sing. But just know it's going to be really good. But it's a lot of reggae music. I love reggae. I've been running from it for a long time, but reggae is in my blood. So expect that. Expect some collaborations on stage too.
Okay, now you have my brain ticking. Who we collaborating with?
Yeah.
Local artists?
Maybe.
All right, okay, all right. Yes. He's not
maybe Tobagonian. Maybe right from Tobago too. You never know.
I have some ideas.
She leaned in.
I have some ideas.
I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it. You have some ideas.
Ideas that I think might be it, but I'll wait until Thursday night to confirm my ideas because I don't want to say it and it's not that night, you know?
I'm gonna leave it right there. I'm gonna leave it right there. But we really
If
want to
you are
thank
a
you.
Samuel Medas fan, you will know what it is.
Gonna research tonight. Is it tonight?
Shanta Lindsay.
I can't hear you. I sorry, you cut out. I couldn't hear what you said.
That was good. That was good. That was really good. But I'm gonna leave it. I guess persons have just got to come on out and they're gonna know. I'm just gonna leave it.
Yeah. That's just how it's gonna be.
I'm gonna leave it. But certainly Tobago is looking forward to having you here. We wish you a very safe flight over. But very quickly before we go, persons like you were born into church. Your parents are pastors, so we refer to them, you guys, as PKs. But you went your way, and you admitted to that, and the Lord brought you back. What would be your message to not only young people, young men, but also pastors' children or the children of parents who are actively involved in ministry? What would be your message to them today?
Well, specifically to the children whose parents are in ministry, our road is different. And you don't have a choice in it. Our road is different, and our struggles are different. And I know that a lot of children whose parents are in ministry, they don't want to follow in their footsteps because they see the sacrifice that their parents make every single day. You know, people criticize your parents, but you know when your parents are waking up 3, 4 o'clock in the morning praying for those very people who are talking bad about them. But don't worry about all of that. There's a blessing that comes with just you being the offspring of people who dedicate their lives to God and give their all for Jesus. But for anybody else, especially people who are on the fence and people who are wondering, first of all, your parents didn't give birth to you. Purpose gave birth to you. If there wasn't a purpose, then you would have not been given birth to in the earth. And a lot of people die as photocopies because they pattern their lives after everybody. Oh, the going thing is being a lawyer. The going thing is being a social media influencer. The going thing is being a doctor. And they die as photocopies because they pattern their lives after other people or what they think is trending. And they rob the world of what God has placed inside of them for people to experience. You could be the next president. You could be the next singer. You could be the next politician, but you need to tap into God first and let God tell you why He placed you on the earth so that the earth can experience the greatness of what God has placed inside you. Don't run from it, because whenever there is obedience, there's provision for that obedience.
Correct. I love that. Correct. Okay, that's my status today. Whenever there is obedience, there is provision for the obedience.
Correct.
Yeah.
I like it.
I need to write that one down.
Tag me. Make sure you tag me.
We will. That's right. So when is all of this happening?
So the Tobago Jazz Experience Gospel Night is on Thursday night, 6 p.m. at the Shore Park Complex. My boy Samuel Meda's gonna be there, and he's singing for me and everybody else too, to the glory of God. That's so we're going to be there this Thursday, 6 p.m. Shore Park Complex.
All right. Thank you
so much for joining us this morning.
All right. So Samuel,
thank you for having me.
As we're leaving, just 2 lines of any other than royalty.
Okay.
We got royalty to start.
If you're not going with me, I'm not moving from here. It's your presence I need. Come out to the jazz night and you're going to hear the rest.
That was a line and a half, but we'll take it. We'll take it. Thank you so much. All the best to you. Bye. And we are certainly looking forward to this coming Thursday.
Yes, definitely.
All right. Now, you see, viewers, Adana, hands were in. Yeah, you see it in the sister. All right.
Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord indeed. All right. Well, viewers, we're going to wrap it up here. Adana, thank you so much for today.
Yes.
All right.
Always a pleasure. As I said, this is home. You guys are family.
All right. And viewers, you can see us tomorrow again. Adana's going to be on with us all week long this week. And this is until Julian returns. Julian, we miss you wherever you are. Stay safe. And to our viewers out there who've been inquiring, he is well, it is well, all is well.
That's right.
All right, so thank you again for being with us. We've got GMT coming up with Candace and lots of exciting things coming up on that show. But we're going to head on over at this time to Tobago Notes. Have a great day, Tobago. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I'm not moving from here. It's your presence, it's your presence.
is not going. If you're not moving, Sam is not moving. If you're not going, Sam is not going. Your presence I need. Oh, if you're not going, Sam is not going. If you're not moving, I'm not moving. If you're not going, I'm staying right here.
That was a production of the Department of Information.
The layout of the house is like 2 bedrooms, a toilet, the room, kitchen. The size is like 11 by 10, bathroom like normal concept, double living room, full dining room here. I say completion of this building, so it will be about 2 weeks time max. We're doing a cladding on the outside, the inside is a fire rating board, gypsum ceiling, right? And well, normal tiles and stuff on the ground.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
Yeah. Hey.
Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago. Wake up with Candace and Denasia.
Let's go, go. It's a brand new morning. Rise up to a brand new dawning as the passion start to rise.
Welcome to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates, your source for current affairs in Tobago, Trinidad, and the region. With a perfect conversation to complement your morning routine, I am Candace Jackson, and let's get started with the news in 90 seconds. Tobago is expected to know the name and logo of its newest political party later today. Chief Secretary Fali Augustine will lead a meeting at a Shore Park complex this afternoon where registered individuals would vote on the party's name and symbol. There are 5 options for the party name, however, that is yet to be released to the public. Augustine stated that the building of this new party would be from a bottom-up approach, where the membership would decide on every aspect. The new party results from a fallout between Augustine and PDP political leader Watson Duke. Augustine and the entire executive council resigned from the party and declared themselves as independents before starting this new party. Meanwhile, political leader of the Unity of the People, Nkosi Phillips, likened the crime situation in Trinidad and Tobago to World War III. According to Phillips, both the government and the opposition failed to address crime, while citizens remained silent. The UTP political leader also criticized the Minister of National Security, Fitzgerald Hines, for putting his ego before ensuring there are results in the fight against crime. And nationally, heads of CARICOM arrived in Trinidad yesterday for the CARICOM Crime Symposium in an attempt to formulate a regional plan in the fight against crime. This symposium comes after Trinidad and Tobago was listed as number 6 in the world crime statistics, followed by Guyana at number 7 and Jamaica at number 10. Among the leaders in attendance is Prime Minister of Barbados, Mia Mottley, the Prime Minister of Dominica, Roosevelt Skerrit, and the Prime Minister of Jamaica, Andre Holness. And that was your news in 90 seconds. And obviously, we have so much happening in our space today. Of course, coming off from our news, we see that crime symposium that's going to be happening. It's just about ready to get started at the Hyatt Regency Hotel in Trinidad. So that's something to look forward to see whether it's going to be just another talk shop or whether some real plans, some real decisions would be made. However, back in Tobago, as I said at the top of the news, we would be having the second meeting of this group of people forming this new political party. And there's a lot of discussion in the space about it and a lot of mixed feelings about it as well. To give us a perspective, we have one man on set with us, none other than the economist, Dr. Vanish James, who was on board with, Chief Secretary Fali Augustine and Dave on the campaign trail in 2020 and 2021 and has turn out to be one of the biggest critics now of some of the decisions that were made since them being into power. So we're going to unpack a whole lot of that in the next hour here on GMT. So a special good morning and welcome to you, Dr. Vanas. How are you doing?
Not bad. How are you doing?
I am great.
You seem to be doing well on Tobago Update.
Of course, this is the best place to be. Anyways, so getting into our discussions today, we're going to have this new party. They're going to decide on their name and their logo this afternoon. What are your perspectives on this?
Well, in all societies, new tends to have some sound of hope.
Mm-hmm.
But in all societies, you have to look carefully at the record you're dealing with for all those who promise anything whatsoever, including a new party. We've had 15 months, going on 16 months, of government by the team that is proposing to put forward this new party. And we could measure from that, from the performance on the 15 months, what you could expect, what the citizens of Tobago could expect. There is a fundamental challenge that Tobago faces, and that Tobago puts people in government to confront. And that is the challenge of ensuring that the people of Tobago are empowered to look after their future.
Yes.
That is what I campaigned for in the 5 years leading up to this year,
Mm-hmm.
and helped to put the PDP in power. And there are two sides to that in the normal course of running a country. Two seamless elements, seamlessly linked elements. One is a political process, a political party process for all parties in Tobago, whether you're talking about the PNM or you're talking about a new outfit, in which people get a chance to practice democracy. And that has a meaning. It means being able to practice control of executive authority. That's the fundamental element of democracy all over the world. You put an executive in power in a party, you need to set up the arrangements in such a way that the representatives of the people in the party could control the executive of the party. Because Candice, an executive is something you give a lot of power. You give them your money, you give them your guns, you give them your influence, and you, the owner, need to have a way to say, okay, this is the way you must run things.
I want to stick a pin there. So one of the criticisms that Mr. Augustine and his team had against, the PDP was that the PDP ended up being a party owned by one man, led by one man. And they decided that after their fallout and whatnot, and realizing that they have to form a new way forward, they don't want a situation where one man leads a party, and that's why they've decided to go things this way and use this sort of bottom-up approach, using the words of Mr. Augustine.
Let's take a careful look. Let's keep taking a careful look at what is required and what signals you can read from the evidence in front of you. Well, first of all, given that intervention, you could know if those who are involved have the skills required to create a democratic party.
And do you think that these people do?
I doubt it.
Why do you say that?
Exactly. First of all, the PDP itself was an opportunity to create one. We had a long period of discussion running into the 6-6 tie, indicating that the design of the party was not adequate. And if both Farley and Watson refused to confront that fact, so they ended up with a party quote unquote owned by Watson. But remember now, what you really need, as against what you create, is a party owned by the members, and that has a practical design element to it. It means that in any party you create, there needs to be some sort of central set of representatives. Let's call it a central council. You need to have an executive in that to do the wishes of the members. Let's say you put 8 people to run an executive. Then you need enough non-executive members in the representative council to outvote the executive every time. So that the representatives of the members of the party could control what the executive of the party does. That's the core design of every democratic process, including governance. You see that?
Yes.
Good. Now, if you set that up, nobody could say, this is my party, because it would be a party owned by the representatives of the people. Now, if you do not have the capability to turn something led by Watson Duke into that design, that raises fundamental questions about both what you understand and your competence to engage with opposition. You know, in a political party, you're going to have different
opinions and views
and challenges, and you're dealing with politicians. So
Certainly.
you're dealing with real challenge.
Or you're just dealing with people in general.
You're dealing with people in general. And so your fundamental skill is the skill of a democrat. It's a skill to compromise, to listen to other people, to understand what people are telling you, and to facilitate consensus. Keep in mind that compromise is not weakness. Compromise is skill and strength.
But in this case, there seemed to be a situation where, let's say, Mr. Duke was not willing to compromise and Mr. Farley, Augustine, was not willing to compromise, or there seemed to be some sort of disconnect there. So, which led to the situation we have today.
Right, and that's their internal business. It's up to them. If they don't have the skill to work together, fair enough. They've lost the confidence of the people of Tobago. And when I say they, both sides. Watson's lost the confidence of the people of Tobago. But Farley also lost it because he demonstrated through that process he didn't have the skills to keep a united PDP. Now, you're going to ask, what party design will deliver control of Farley and his executive in that new party? What design? You have to deal with that. You have to understand that. And in order to understand that, you also have to understand what that means for the way the THA is designed. They are linked. You practice democracy inside a political party, meaning the members of the party practice controlling the executive of the party. Now, that same practice, where you nurture the skills of give and take and so on, is the practice you are going to take into the THA. And mission number 1 for Tobago is to design a THA in which the representatives of the people of Tobago could control the executive council.
Now, and if I understand where you're getting at, now we've had 15 months, as you said, of the Farley-led Augustine-led administration, but we've had some complaints in terms of, you know, the way that they've been able to relate back to the people, especially the people that voted for them, you know, whether or not it's something simple as getting in touch with them. So are you saying now, because of those, I guess, because of those missteps, they would not be able to form an effective political party?
Well, the understanding is you act, education is change behavior. You act in relation to what you understand. So if I were running the THA, mission number 1, given the history of Tobago people, from slavery to now, my understanding of the nature of the challenges we face in Tobago, they need to pull the society together and critically the need to provide the population with proper opportunity to influence and control executive action, because they own the society.
And this is, of course, self-governance you're leading to.
Well, I can show you where that fits. That is not an automatic central issue in the way Robinson and Murray talked about it. Scientifically, the first concern is to design a system that allows the non-executive representatives of the people of Tobago to manage the executive, to oversee the work of the Executive Council. That should be very clear. But you still need to have a majority party operating. And so you have to design the THA, and you have to put it to the people of Tobago and explain it to them. You have to design a THA in which you have enough members so that you have an executive concentrating on doing the executive work, 8 of them, okay? And you need enough. Usually the multiple is 5 by 8. That will give you, say, 40. All right. What that really means is, if you had, say, 40 members in the THA, 21 of them would have to be the governing party. If you only have 8 executives, that will give you 13 non-executive members of the leading party, of the majority party. Enough members, in other words, to vote the 8. So the party coming in with a democratic practice in its own design would have members in the THA who are accustomed to practicing democracy in their party, controlling their party executive, who now have the task sent by the people of Tobago to control the Executive Council. And there would be 13 of them who could use their majority vote to outvote the Executive Council if they deem it necessary. Then, of course, you have the opposition. Say the opposition is the remaining 19.
Yes.
Okay. Well, what all of that translates to is, if you take power with the THA and the THA Act as it is written, you have to understand the need for that design and what that has to do with autonomy and self-government. Because the mechanism of oversight in a government, all over the world, you see it in Britain. That's how the British people moved Boris Johnson and Liz Truss in 1 year.
Yes.
The mechanism of oversight is that the 13 plus the opposition would form oversight committees to supervise every division, so that each division has its own board of directors inside the THA. And what those divisions would be doing, those boards would be doing, those oversight committees would be doing it. They would investigate Farley's work. They would investigate each secretary's work. They will investigate whatever is being done on behalf of the people of Tobago. And they will decide when change is required. And the way you make change when you're in government is you make policy and translate the policy into law. So the THA Act would have to be changed in order to allow that kind of oversight mechanism to create law to control executive action.
And of course, this was a proposal that you would have made.
That's the basis of autonomy. Yes. And that's the basis on which I campaigned to oppose the PNM. Because I argued to the people of Tobago that the PNM doesn't understand that. And that's the basis on which I supported removal of the PNM. And that's the basis on which I say to the people of Tobago today, the government you have in power doesn't understand this fundamental. Because if they did, the first thing they would do after the last election is to move to set up the government in a way that brings the people of Tobago directly into the process. In 2 ways. You make policy in every serious country on 2 tracks. The public service is a set of specialists you put to look scientifically at issues and bring policy proposals to the government through the Executive Council, in this case. But there's a second track, and that's what the oversight mechanism is about, and that's what empowerment is about. That second track is you set up those oversight arrangements, and you give the people of Tobago a chance, as you see it in Britain, you see it practiced in the US, to come on any policy matter whatsoever, the budget, everything, and tell you, as the Executive Council, what they think on that issue. So just quickly, not to block you, we're going to do a budget this year. In New York City, you would have to take those budget proposals to the people 4 months ago. And you'd have to ask the people, what do you think about these proposals? And that's what is really required in a place like Tobago. You go to the people with the proposals in a timely way, and you say, this is what we propose for the budget. In another month and a half, you will be going to a budget. There is no way this government could say, we ask the people of Tobago what you want in the budget. It's our budget, it's not their budget. But there is no mechanism, and they made no move over 15 months despite advice.
Now, what were the reactions when you gave that advice? And I know you would have repeatedly given that advice.
Well, Fali told the public what his reaction was. He told the media, Dr. James doesn't want anything to do with the executive. He gave me advice. I take some, I leave some. What is the sum he didn't take? This proposal to set up the government of Tobago urgently to empower our people and keep the #1 faith we have with us, with our people. Coming out of our history, that is the single most important thing any government could do anywhere in the Caribbean. Because remember what slavery was. It's one man dictating to everybody else.
Yes.
And the way you get freedom is you turn that on its head and you let everybody else dictate to the one man who is the executive. So you put the executive in the slave master position and you put the people to tell him what to do, or her. And that is what you have to do first in Trinidad and Tobago, in Jamaica, Barbados, everywhere, if you want our people to come from the bottom of the world and rise to the top. Tobago is at the bottom of the whole Caribbean chain, economically, and for us to move forward, catch up with Trinidad and Tobago and so on. Step 1, project #1 in your development plan is to establish this mechanism of government. Now you could see the parallels there.
Yes.
The kind of party you set up informs us about the opportunity, the will to give an opportunity to the people to practice democracy in your party. But the kind of government you set up informs us about your will to give the whole of Tobago, not just your members, opportunity to practice democracy here and look after our future. And 15 months is more than enough time. That's why last year I gave them a 1 out of 10 in my grading. And 3 and 4 months later, I would still give a 1 out of 10 and more likely a 0 out of 10 for incompetence in the demonstration of your interest in what the people of Tobago really concerned about.
Now, looking at how they are starting this new party, what does that mean for our governance right here in the THE? How does that translate into what can we expect for the next 2.5 years?
Nothing. That's my point. If you have not done the work to establish the mechanisms, without the change in the law, it could be done. Establish the mechanisms for the people of Tobago to inform you as a government as to what to do, then it really is signaling that your political party that you are forming is a way to look after your own interests, right? And in scriptural terms, in the light of the last campaign that we held, that is what the Bible would describe as deceit and desperate wickedness in high places. That's what biblical language. I'm kinder than that. I call it incompetence. But really, what it demonstrates is that you don't understand what you have to do for your own party to be part of an effective democratic process. And if you don't understand that you have to set up Tobago properly, how do you understand? How do you convince me that you understand what it means to set up a party properly? The two are seamlessly linked. You can't have a democratic party and an undemocratic government. That's what happened to the PNM. And the same campaign that I was willing to wage against the PNM, remember the PNM people called me vagrant?
Oh, yes.
The same campaign I waged against them is now required by the people of Tobago against this group of people who have demonstrated no capacity. Either they are incompetent or they are wicked. I don't say they're wicked. I will say they're incompetent because they clearly don't understand what is required for Tobago to get any chance to move forward in the Caribbean diaspora.
So how do we get those people that know what is required to take Tobago forward in terms of governance?
Continuous debate of this kind, continuous public education. The professors, the scholars, the researchers have to clarify it for you. You can't expect the typical citizen to be spending the time doing the work to understand the arithmetic of the design. So when you tell Tobagonians the THA is too small to do the job you need, you need to explain that. If you have an executive council with 13 of them, eight plus assistants, right? If you have that kind of government setup, the whole of the THA is an executive, minus Mr. Morris and his opposition senator, his opposition councillor. The whole THA is an executive, and there's no way for you to have oversight of that. Now, let me illustrate for the people of Tobago how that matters. Farley has signaled from time to time that he wants to reshuffle his government.
Yes.
But what does that mean? I, as Chief Secretary, am going to evaluate the performance of each of the secretaries and say, well, you're doing your job, you're not doing your job, let me move you around and so on. Good? He is secretary of everything and supervises them. Question for the people. Who supervises Farley? Who reshuffles him? Britain answered that by kicking out Boris Johnson for incompetence and breaking the law.
And Liz Truss.
And kicking out Liz Truss for incompetence. Who evaluates Farley? There is an answer in the British, what is rarely called Westminster, which is not what this bogus thing we've designed here. What you set up are these oversight mechanisms, and you back that by having the majority. Britain has a parliament of 650 members. 30 of them is in the cabinet. So the non-executive members of the British Parliament outnumber the executive by so much. You could evaluate the performance of the Prime Minister and say, look, you're not doing a good job, out you go. If you don't design Tobago's government in such a way that the representatives of the people could control the executive, you don't have a representative government. You have executive government. You have authoritarian government. You know where that carry in Tobago? Heading right down the road where you see in Papa Doc's country in Haiti. That's where you're going if you don't fix this problem as a people. The people of Tobago cannot sit back and be mesmerized by the idea that somebody go form a party. We agreed to remove the PNM in a landslide. Pretty much all the seats were won. But what was it to do? To set up the government of the people of Tobago properly so that we could be empowered. That was the promise right up to the Saturday night before the election. We would empower you. That was the promise. Now, unless you were just talking through your teeth and didn't understand what you were saying, this amounts to betrayal.
Yes.
It's not fair that after 139 years under the thumb of Trinidad, you put a set of people in power with the commitment to let us deal with this properly. And for 15 months, you have said nothing to the government of Trinidad as to what we are really all about in the upgrade of the status of Tobago with respect to Trinidad. You have not gone to Trinidadians to explain to them why we need autonomy. We don't need autonomy because we are against Trinidad. We need autonomy in order to set up good government in Tobago. Government in which the representatives of the people have the power to make law, to control executive action, and get executive action to do the things we, the people of Tobago, need. And Tobagonians cannot allow the glitter of the formation of a party to blind the eyes to those fundamental realities. And that's why people like me get into the public process. Not for me, I'm fine. But
for the development of Tobago.
And for the future of what is going to happen when people like me are not on the stage anymore?
Yes.
Who is going to tell the story? So people, scholars like me who went to school to understand what we need to do here, must speak up rather than join the glitz and the glamour.
All right. And I will take that as a good point of us to just take a pause, and then when we come back, we'll expand on that a little bit more. All right, so viewers, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back right after this break.
To a brand new dawning as the passion start to rise, the energy fill the sky.
Tobago, it's time to go. Sweet like
Tobago, here's the real deal. Nothing sweeter than when your internet fast all day, every day. I telling you, it's real nice when your home internet and TV package fit your budget. Well, if that's what you want, you're safe with Digicel Plus. Sign up or switch to Digicel Plus now and pay $0 for 1 month. Plus, plans start as low as $199 and you get installed for free. Visit digiceltt.com or a Digicel store now.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates, viewers. And yes, we have perhaps one of the I think we're at the end of the cruise season. So we have a cruise ship there in harbor. I mean, it's left to be seen how much are we benefiting really from these cruise ships that are coming in. I mean, we certainly love to see more as as the time goes on, because this is our first cruise season back on the market. Of course, we came back in last because our borders here in Trinidad and Tobago were the last to open for the whole Caribbean region. So while all the other destinations in the region had that jump start and was able to capitalize on the tourism market, we in Tobago unfortunately have to lag behind.
They opened first because pretty much the rest of the Caribbean run
tourism, yes.
We run an oil and gas economy here. Tourism is a minor thing. Let me point out to you and to your listeners that the IMF has just brought out their Article 4 surveillance mission report. I spent the whole of the weekend studying it carefully because I was invited by The Guardian to prepare a little note on it for them. And one of the things that strikes me is that the IMF is predicting a decline in the national economy towards the end of 2023, going into 2024 and after, because of the decline in the energy sector. And what that tells you is that the IMF doesn't think that any other sector in the economy will emerge to generate the export earnings that oil and gas would normally generate.
Yes.
That says there is no belief in the national spirit that the tourism industry of Tobago could play the job, do the job that oil and gas is doing.
And then when you've paid attention to the messages coming from Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley, as well as the Minister of Finance, Com Imbert, the message has been, they continually put their faith in the oil and gas sector.
Absolutely.
And whereas there are some arguments to say yes, because of how liquid it is, it costs less in some ways than it does to invest into the tourism product. They continue to put all that effort there, and they don't seem to be putting enough effort behind the tourism product, and automatically Tobago suffers as a result.
And there's a reason for that. Let's be clear. You don't need good governance just because you believe in democracy. You need it because it is vital to your economic transformation. And what really that comes down to is tourism as an industry. And you look around the region, you see that. For it to lead to development, and it hasn't led to development anywhere in the region yet. For it to lead to development, you have to bring the entire citizenry into the process. You have to get everybody to agree to treat tourists nice. You have to get everybody to understand that good service is not servitude. You have to get people to understand that you have to be innovative in the development of the service that you offer to the public and offer to the tourists and so on. So you become famous for the quality of your music and the quality of your service and all of those kinds of things. You do a visit to any place like Mexico and those other places, and you would see the sharp difference in the way tourists are treated as compared to what we are offering as service here. And until you provide a framework in which the citizen can conduct a proper, normal conversation about what we're doing, so they could face up to the reality of highly productive work and all of those kinds of things, you would find that you'll have a hit and miss approach to the development of the tourism sector.
I mean, and as you mentioned, Mexico, there are certain places in Mexico. So, we know Mexico has a reputation for being, crime-ridden and so on, but yet they have the Cancun, they have the Baja Peninsula and so on that do remarkably well when it comes to tourism. And it makes you wonder, what are they getting right and what are we getting wrong?
And when you actually go to those places, what you experience tells you we are not even at the starting gate. What you experience is, because they know the world is thinking of them in terms of tourists, in terms of crime and so on, they link them and they say, as soon as you land, they begin to put in your mind the idea that you'll be fine, you'll be safe. They do all sorts of things to convince you. They check everything. They check in your baggage. They check in the monitoring and convince you, the visitor, that there might be crime in Mexico, but you wouldn't be a victim of that crime because we're taking all steps necessary to protect you. That's what you actively see. I spent a lot of time in the tourism areas working in Jamaica, for example. And when you see how Jamaicans treat tourists in the tourism areas, forget about the rest of Jamaica.
Yes.
I interview tourists and ask them in the middle of Trenchtown, what you doing in a place like Trenchtown? And the tourists would say, well, I come here because of what I hear is the fun about being in Trenchtown. If you know how to treat people, you could allay their fears with respect to crime.
Yes.
What we have not cultivated is the art and the skill and the cleverness. And you don't get that by, Well, let me put it positively. The only way you get that is by incorporating your citizens into a complete conversation about what is required to succeed. And you only do that if you have to succeed. They opened up before us because there's no other way for them to get foreign exchange. We didn't open up because we don't care that the tourism industry would become a central pillar.
And then that has put Tobago at a disadvantage. I mean, because we're experiencing it now. I mean, it's easy to say that our figures are low compared to 2019, but when you look at the reasons why, you know, I mean, what can our governance do to improve that?
Well,
right here in Tobago, do we have any power within the construct right now? Do we have any power to increase anything when it comes to tourism?
We don't have the power now, but that's my point. We had 15 months to initiate a proper conversation with the government in Trinidad to explain to them why we need autonomy. And that we don't need autonomy because you're treating us bad. We need autonomy in order to set up Tobago properly, to play its rightful role in the national space. We need democracy in Tobago. You may keep going what you're doing in Trinidad, running a cabinet government. But we can't afford that if we are going to develop Tobago, because we need all our citizens on board. We can't afford to run Tobago for half and leave out, say, PNM people, for example. You win in the election, but the PNM people are
they're also
red-blooded Tobagonians, and they need to be fully integrated into the governance process so they could make decisions in the interest of Tobago rather than simply in their own party interest. They may not know that in Trinidad, but here in Tobago, we need that approach in order for us to make any progress. So back in January, February, March, I remember telling Fali, the way you're treating Tobago contractors is the wrong approach. You've got to set up a proper team. No, it's nothing to do with them being PNM. They are Tobago contractors. When we went to court under Hochoy to win the dispute resolution money, it was because we said Tobago people not getting enough of the national pie. There was no thought in our head that you would pay out contracts to Trinidad contractors with the money we win in court, while Tobago contractors are under scrutiny for something that might have been done by the PNM. They are Tobagonians, you can't put the workers on the breadliners. You're going to be very thoughtful. We won the money to help them as Tobagonians. We didn't win the money for you to use it to fix people from Point 14.
But how do we balance though that when we're only getting, let's say, about $300 million in developmental funding, or just less than?
That is why you have to make a clear and adequate case about autonomy. You have to make it clear to the nation that because Tobago has to take its rightful place in national development, its tourism industry is the only way, if it's done properly, is the only way we're going as a nation in the direction of displacing oil and gas revenues. You have to persuade them about that, and you have to be able to say, this is what autonomy means in terms of the development budget of Tobago. The development budget of the country must be allocated in such a way that it would allow us to invest properly in the development of the tourism industry in Tobago. You have to be able to make that case. And you have to persuade the national community that in order to do that, we need to run a democratic government in Tobago, no matter what you are doing in Trinidad. And if you make that case, you will be able to clarify to the country that the development budget of Tobago has to be somewhere in the region of the $2 billion. And here's how it could be done. You have to sort out the boundaries, right? So that you're allocating your development budget, taking into account the geographical space for which Tobago is responsible. Not the little 6 mile around the island, but everything north of the median line. And that would give Tobago a bigger space in the national space than Trinidad. And that alone would allow us to make a clear case that the development budget of Tobago has to be bigger. than it is today. And let me tell you, if you just take a look, any citizen could jump online and take a look at the New York City Charter. And you would see how the development budget of New York is allocated. It's allocated based on the share of the population and the space each borough is responsible for. So you could do the same thing here. It's standard around the world. Economists have long understood that. So what you do is you define the boundaries properly, as we see ourselves naturally. Trinidad is clearly not north of Castara.
Certainly not.
Right? Its boundaries end somewhere where Tobago starts.
Yes.
Right. And so once you understand that and you set the boundaries right to deal with how we naturally view ourselves, both as Trinidad and as Tobago, you would be able to make a case to your nation and to your world that the efforts that all of this boundary setting is going to enable is going to be properly and justly funded. Trinidad would not be disadvantaged by proper funding because of the responsibilities Tobago has. We have a blue economy to run, north of Tobago. You can't run that on $300 million of government spending. We have a greening of the Tobago economy, solar energy and wind energy and so on, even nuclear. You're not going to be able to move in those directions on behalf of the nation. I mean, if you do it properly, we could export energy to Trinidad when the oil industry declined down there.
Well, we were supposed to be exporting energy to Trinidad or elsewhere with Cove. That was a promise made, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago. However, we're yet to see that happening.
They never believed in it.
We're still having challenges in servicing Tobago itself.
They never believed in it, I could tell you. Because I remember when I was advising Hocho Charles, we went to the government in Trinidad and made the case that we ought to make Tobago, this is back in 1997, the pilot project for renewable energy development in the country. While you sit down on your belief in oil and gas down there, let us use our development money a different way to initiate transforming Tobago. Give us our share of the energy resources so we could transform Tobago into a mecca of renewable energy. And they said to us, gas energy will always be cheaper than wind and solar.
Yes.
That was the thinking down there. So they've never believed in what we're talking about. We in Tobago, on the other hand, must believe in that and make a clear and adequate case to the nation that this is how we think we could contribute and be side by side with you.
Now, in a few minutes that we have left, I just wanted to sort of analyze some of the things that are happening right now as it relates to the THA governance. I mean, we touched on tourism. We have the Jazz Festival coming up this weekend. And, we're not necessarily hearing that buzz that we have heard in years gone by. The Augustin-led administration promised to do things differently, and we didn't even hear the announcement of the artist until a month ago.
Man, you can't even, the biggest complaint I get all over Tobago, from top campaigners, the guy who was up and down in Tobago with his trucks, putting the PDP in power, complained to me this weekend that since then to now, not one of the leaders, including Fali, have come across to see him, to understand what the contribution meant. You can't get them to talk to them. People complain all the time. You can't get them on the phone. They tell you nobody to call them. Well, what all of that means is you have no mechanism to bring, and of course they refuse to put the oversight arrangements I recommended in place. So there is nothing available that you could use to bring Tobagonians into the enthusiastic effort to really drive any initiative, whether it's tourism, jazz festival a part of it, and so on. None. There's no mechanism in place to do it. Tobago is left bare. And as long as that is the way we're going, even the jazz festival, as great as it could be, would be hit and miss. You have to get the whole national community into the drive. when I get to call my friends in New York and say, come to Tobago, we're doing a great thing on the Jazz Festival. You're not going to get enough of that if you're alienating people on your governance framework.
We had a start of the 3-year plan to, engage the island in a customer service training to improve the way we do business here in Tobago and improve the interactions between proprietors and customers. And how do you evaluate this so far? Do you think that this would be effective and this is what we need, or is it going to work?
Well, two things. One, we proposed this training when the PNM was in power.
Yes.
And it's good to see somebody understands that it needs to be done. But you don't develop with a project. You develop with a process. And at the heart of that process is your mechanism for consensus building. Consensus is one of the big ingredients of the development process. We've done work, in my work with WIPO, I have run the models on the global data to demonstrate the critical importance of consensus-oriented government, right? You're not going to develop a place like Tobago unless you have mechanisms of consensus. So the fundamental mechanism, the government is the mechanism through which we collaborate and through which we achieve consensus. And if you set that up so that the members of the Executive Council need to lock off their phone in order to get privacy, there's no mechanism through which we could talk to them outside of calling them on the phone. I don't try because that's not the way we should run the government. But the typical citizen will try. And they're not going to get them. So you're not going to have any mechanism through which consensus could be built. And in the absence of those mechanisms, the public learning that is required to translate a course into culture, into the normal routine behavior of citizens in engaging with the delivery of high-quality customer service will not be there. Today still, when I go into a store, I get the same long face. We're bothering to come here for, right? They're trying in the hotel plant. I go to them and use them.
Oh,
and
yes.
they're trying in the hotel plants. But it's the whole culture, because tourists wouldn't just come and go in your hotel. They'll go up and down in your stores.
And then, that's the thing, is that a lot of people in Tobago don't really understand how everything is connected to the tourism product, every part of it. Whether you're just working in a government office or whether you're a shopkeeper, all of it is connected.
And who tourists are? Now, remember, when I was young, a tourist was a white person.
Yes.
But now, a huge chunk of them are people from the diaspora.
Yes, they are.
Right? They come as your family. They stay in the hotels. And you hear them complaining about the experience that they get. And all of that means you cannot shape high-quality customer service for visitors who you think might be white. And forget that the people you encounter who are not white might be tourists and need high-quality training. So you've got to get the culture into understanding the quality of service as against the demands of servitude. When I treat my diaspora brother well, that's not servitude, that's not slavery.
Is there any connection between that culture of customer service and then the way that we do governance?
That's my point. You have to get the society practicing democracy. Development, democracy, high quality customer service, they're all the same thing. Compromise in a dialogue inside a political party is not weakness by the person who compromises, it's strength and love and skill. Right? And that's the same spirit you have to take into normal business management and all of those kinds of things. You running a business, I have a pretty sizable business operating in Trinidad. And I train, meaning put them in class. Train my customer service specialists in how I want them to deal with my customers. I don't leave that to any chance. But in that training, there's real back and forth.
Yes.
They come to you and they say, well, this is how we think the thing should work if we're going to succeed in getting our customers to come back and buy and respond to our ads and so on. So customer service, especially as innovative customer service for tourism, is a national project, is a social commitment by citizens to each other to practice democracy in a proper way. It's all part of the one single overall conversation. If you run a dictatorial government, as we are running still, it's the same type of government the PNM was running that this bunch is running. If we're running that, there is no chance you will get Tobago off the bottom. When the national economy is declining, Tobago will not be a beacon of development, and it ought to be. When Trinidad is declining, Tobago ought to be picking up the slack. That is only possible if we fix the governance arrangements and use that to set up the economy properly.
All right, and I guess on that point, we'll have to leave it right there because we are out of time. But I mean, Dr. Vanish James, you left so much for us to think about and to ponder. And I really hope that people watching, no matter what political side you hold on to, there are things that we need to consider when we're talking about governance, how we develop Tobago, how we take Tobago forward, because all of us are involved in making sure that happens.
Fantastic. Even if you're not a member of a political
Even if you're not a member of a political party,
exactly.
You know, the governance, it does involve all of us.
Correct.
All right, viewers, so thank you for watching and thank you for staying with us. I hope you have a safe and wonderful day, and we will see you again tomorrow.